Okay, stop everything because there is a veteran edge rusher available in free agency right now who solves the Bears' pass rush problem immediately, and Ryan Poles still has not signed him. In a minute, I am going to tell you why this move has more risk than it looks, and why, if it goes wrong, it could sink this front seven before training camp even starts. But that is not all, because while the defense is looking for its weapon, there is a silent war happening in the receiver room that nobody has been willing to have out loud. Luther Burden versus Rome Odunze, and there is one exact number that already picked Caleb Williams WR1 for 2026. I am going to show it to you in this video, and when you see it, it is going to change everything you thought you knew about this offense. And just when you think you understand where this roster is heading, I am going to tell you about the most unexpected scouting move the monsters of the Midway have made in years. A receiver who does not come from the NFL, does not come from college football, comes from a place nobody in the Windy City saw coming. And when you understand why it actually makes sense, you are going to see exactly how this organization thinks from the inside. Bear down. Let's go. Let's go straight to the point. The Chicago Bears had 35 sacks in 2025. In a league where pressure on the quarterback is literally the difference between winning divisional rounds and going home early, that number is a serious problem. Montez Sweat had 10, Gervon Dexter had 6, and after those two, there is a cliff. There is no third edge rusher keeping any offensive coordinator up at night. There is nobody forcing opposing teams to change their game plan. There is nobody making Caleb Williams feel safer knowing the defense can create its own chaos. And the thing that confused this entire fan base the most this offseason was exactly this. The Bears did not sign a single edge rusher in free agency. They did not draft 1 out of 7 draft selections. 0 went to the pass rush. Logan Jones at center, Sam Roush at tight end, Xavier Thomas at receiver, and that created the conversation that has been floating around for weeks now. Is Ben Johnson making roster decisions that should belong to Ryan Poles? Because if you look at it honestly, it is hard not to land there. Johnson is an offensive-minded head coach. He loves building units that score in multiple ways, and his fingerprint on this draft class was completely offensive. The beat reporters in Chicago have been asking that same question for weeks, but here's what nobody is saying out loud. There is a veteran sitting in free agency right now who would solve this problem immediately. A player the Bears know very well. A player this city remembers. An edge rusher who left Chicago and quietly became one of the most consistent pass rushers in the entire NFL for 5 straight seasons. We're talking about someone who was selected with the 9th overall pick of the 2016 NFL Draft, who in his first year with his new team racked up 10.5 sacks, who between 2020 and 2024 never had fewer than 8.5 sacks in a single season, who built a reputation as a quiet motor, technically sound, showing up when it mattered most. Bro, if you already know who I'm talking about, you know why this makes sense. And if you don't, you are going to want to rewind this. Last season was his worst, only 3.5 sacks, and he is 33 years old now. That is why nobody has signed him yet. That is why he is still sitting in free agency while the Bears look at their edge depth chart and find nothing reliable behind Sweat and Austin Booker. But here is the real argument. What do the Bears have at those positions that is genuinely better than this man on a 1-year deal, low cost, with a proven track record, with NFC knowledge, and with extra motivation to show that last season was an anomaly and not the beginning of the end? The honest answer is nothing. They have nothing better than that. And the roster logic here is clean. You are not betting the franchise's future. You are not giving up draft compensation. You are not blocking any young player's development. You are giving a 1-year shot to a proven veteran who knows how to win in this league, who can mentor Austin Booker just by being in the building every day, and who in the best case scenario gives you 8, 9, maybe 10 sacks that the Bears desperately need. And there is one more thing nobody can ignore: the comeback mentality. When a player who left a franchise without getting the recognition he deserved comes back with something to prove, that energy is real. That motivation does not come in a contract. It comes from inside. The Bears need to stabilize that front seven before training camp opens. And this move, if Ryan Poles pulls the trigger, would be exactly the kind of smart, low-risk, high-upside play that defines quality roster management in the Windy City. Fam, you already have the name in your head. Drop it in the comments. Let's talk about it. When the Bears traded DJ Moore to the Bills, everyone assumed the same thing. Rome Odunze, the number 9 pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, would automatically inherit that number 1 receiver role, the higher pedigree, the most obvious expectation, the biggest name in the room, but the data says something different, and the data does not lie. Luther Burden's average depth of target in 2025 was 7.67 yards. You know what Amon-Ra St. Brown's average depth of target was in his final season playing under Ben Johnson in Detroit? 7.67 yards, exact same number. That is not a coincidence. That is Ben Johnson already having found his Amon-Ra in Chicago. And his name is Luther Burden III, and the metrics go beyond just that one number. Burden led the entire league in average separation on his catches at 4.6 yards. According to NFL Next Gen Stats, he was third among all receivers with 40 or more receptions in yards per route run at 2.67, right behind Puka Nacua and Jackson Smith-Njigba. That is elite production in the metrics that matter most inside Johnson's system: separation, efficiency, match wins against cornerbacks in open space. And on the other side of that conversation, you have Odunze, who arrived at the divisional round with a massive opportunity and let it slip. First drive, end zone. Caleb Williams puts the ball exactly where it needs to be. And Odunze drops it. Man, that moment still hurts. The Bears lost that game by 3 points, 7 points left on the field, and that drop is now part of the story Odunze has to rewrite in 2026. What makes it doubly concerning is that catching tough balls under pressure in traffic was supposed to be his superpower coming out of college. That was the reason he went number 9 overall. And that superpower has not shown up consistently in the NFL yet. Can Odunze turn it around? Absolutely. His career's nowhere near over. He has real talent and time to prove it. But while that happens, there is a man in that receiver room who is already playing at the level Johnson needs. A man whose craftiness, whose separation instinct, and whose route efficiency position him perfectly to absorb the 85 targets DJ Moore left behind. And that man is Burden. Those 85 targets are sitting there waiting. And everything points to the bulk of them landing in the hands of Luther Burden III. Okay, when I saw this headline, I actually stopped what I was doing. The Bears, according to Jacob Infante over at Windy City Gridiron, have shown interest in a wide receiver named Akil Greer. Who is Akil Greer? A receiver in Arena Football 1. He plays for the Washington Wolfpack. 6'4", 200 pounds, 4.51 in the 40, 22 receptions, 209 yards, and 3 touchdowns so far this AF1 season. The instant reaction from any fan is going to be the same. Arena football, seriously. But before we dismiss this completely, let's ask the right question. Why not? The Bears receiver room after Burden and Odunze is thin. Jade Walker, Xavier Thomas as a rookie, Khalif Raymond as a complimentary piece. Scotty Miller just signed out of minicamp tryouts. That is not exactly a list that is keeping defensive coordinators in other cities up at night. And Ben Johnson already said it himself. We're always looking to add competition. Greer has a genuinely interesting physical profile. 6'4" is exactly the kind of boundary receiver size this room needs outside of Odunze. He has vertical ball skills. He has leaping ability. He is 3 seasons deep in AF1. He had a tryout with the Las Vegas Raiders. There is some resume here. Is he going to make the final 53-man roster? Realistically, probably not. The jump from AF1 to the NFL is enormous, but this is exactly the kind of low-risk training camp flyer that smart organizations bring in during July. If it does not work, you lost nothing. If he surprises you in camp, you have a developmental piece you did not have before. What this confirms is simple. The Bears are not yet comfortable with their depth in the receiving core, and when your talent search starts, including Arena Football League rosters, that is real information about how the organization feels on the inside. This is not desperation. This is competition as a culture, and under Ben Johnson at Halas Hall, that culture is here to stay. The Chicago Bears in 2026 are building something real, something this city has not felt in a very long time. They have Caleb Williams, they have Ben Johnson, they have Luther Burden playing at an elite level. And if they make the right move on the pass rush, fam, this team can make some serious noise. The work is not done. There are still questions. There are still gaps on the roster, but the direction is clear. And we are going to be right here for every move, every report, and every snap of the preseason. If this video got you fired up, drop a like right now. Subscribe if you're new because we do this every single day. And tell me in the comments, would you bring that veteran edge rusher back to Chicago to fix the pass rush? Yes or no? I want to read your take. Bear down, Chicago. See you in the next one.